Ba, ba, ba. Hello, everybody. Dang it, I thought I had my chair in the right place. I've been moving stuff around, so things are all combobulated again. Not quite discombobulated, but they're a little combobulated. I think that works. So, anyway, hi, everybody. Welcome to Heart of a Hobbit here on the Lotro Twitch channel, which would be twitch.tv/Lotro stream. I know Cordovan, the SSG community manager, when he streams on Fridays, he always says that during his stream. And I think, how interesting, because like you're here. I don't know how you got here on purpose. It's not like radio where you might have been turning the dial and you don't know where you are. Talk about an old reference there. Yeah, so if you don't know where you are, now you know where you are. Unless you're watching this on YouTube later, in which case, thanks for watching on my YouTube channel. So, hello and welcome. So I'm Little Redhead, and we are playing Lotro today. And often I play a lot of the more kind of off the beaten track stuff. I'm really big into the social stuff, like the festivals and the housing stuff and all that sort of thing. So we are in between festivals right now. So I was like, well, what am I going to do? Now, first of all, look at this gorgeous hall. I don't actually stand around and stare at this hall that often. This is the Hall of Fire in Rivendell, and Bilbo's chilling out here, and you end up in here for a couple of things from time to time. But man, that's looking gorgeous, isn't it? Oh my gosh. And I've been playing Valheim, which is another video game, and you can build your own buildings. I mean, it's kind of what you do. I mean, there's the whole thing where you're supposed to go off and defeat things, but really, we just build buildings. And so now I'm looking at these fires down at the end. I'm like, ooh, so that's like a large one, and this is like the smaller ones. Yeah, it's a whole different way. I really enjoy, I am enjoying, I should say, playing other games and then coming back to Lotro, and I can further appreciate like the world building. Because we have been building houses, that sort of thing. So that's why I'm like, I don't feel like I'm cheating if I'm playing other games, right? It's like, it brings me back to Lotro with a different appreciation, and I like it. Like, who doesn't love these stairs that you can just run up and down? We've got there's stairs and there's a ladder in Valheim, and the stairs are like, well, I mean, the stairs are more like this kind of height differentiation. It's great. You just run up and down like this. But the ladder, you can't just run up and down. I mean, it goes vertical a lot faster, which is useful, but man, it's a pain in the butt. Okay, so anyway, what am I doing here? Oh, and by the way, just right, looks around. Where am I? Where am I? Hopefully you're in Lotro, right? Loshire Hobbit, welcome. Comes in with the s'mores. Sorry I'm late. Currently knee deep in the slag hills. Well, that sounds uncomfortable. Hopefully you can at least get on top of it and walk on it like an elf, maybe, But okay, so what I'm doing with this character, and this is something we were doing before, so this will be familiar to a lot of folks who've been watching, and we are working on the legendary item reward track. I know this is like a broken record. This is what I do because I don't actually care about any of this stuff. I wish I could just not claim it, honestly. But what I do want are the things you get at 25, 50, 75, and 100. So, yeah. Oh, Lushai working on getting my brawler to Mordor. That's exciting. We have only done Mordor once, and that was on a Nor, because we were trying really hard to get to some titles and stuff, and so we were just like screaming through the landscape stuff and got into that, and we were, anyway, so yeah, only one time have I actually engaged with that part of the story. So I'm really curious to see how this is going to go, because oh, you're talking about Mordor. No, to Mordor, not on Mordor. Yeah, got it. Because over on Treebeard, we are going, one chunk at a time. And we're currently, like, in one of the Rohans. Oh, no, wait. No, we're down in Gondor. One of the Gondors. And, eventually we will end up in Mordor. So I'm really interested to see what that looks like, because there's basically 4 of us in our kin right now that are active regularly. Like every Saturday we get together and do stuff. And so it'd be really awesome if the 4 of us, and possibly other people would be great too, are continuing to do that like weekly, because that's been really, really good, and so I'm really kind of excited to see that. So, yeah, before points out that Valheim is kind of like Minecraft plus Vikings plus gorgeous scenery. I mean, it is gorgeous. There's times when I just like stop and look at the scenery because it's just so pretty. I mean, I do that in Lotro too. I don't think there's been many months that go by where I just don't find myself in Lotro pausing from time to time just to look around because, well, like we just did today with the Hall of Fire. I mean, I guess that's gorgeous internal stuff. They do such a good job with the scenery here in Lotro too. It's just so beautiful. I love it. I just love it. Yeah, and before points out that it's a lot of fun if you like chopping down trees and building houses. I really enjoy the chopping down of trees. My skill is way up there. Apparently your skill can get to 100. You can like level up as you do the thing. You get better at it. And 100 is the max. And I'm already in the 50s. And normally for the zone that we're in, you would be like in your 30s, I guess. But I'm like, I just love chopping down the trees. What can I say? Oh, Loshire, it'll be your second character. And I'm in the mood to do the waste, and I'm struggling to get past the area. So, oh, well, good luck getting through the slag hills there. Okay, so what have we got here on the reward track? The item 25, it includes something called the Gaffer's Delight Collection, which I believe is the potato frame and a Samwise Gamgee yard guy. So interactive yard, what do they call it? Guard person. So you could have Sam following you around. And if it's the same Sam as they did previously with their, they did a code like a year ago or something. And if it's the same thing, he gives you like a little quest that you could do, and he'll be like, cool, here you go. And he like gives you potatoes or cabbage or, you know, something else. It's really funny. So there's that. And then if you go up to 50, this time it is a coffer of the Deep Claw Whelp, which doesn't really lend itself to good role playing, I don't think, but I still will take it. 75 is a Parrot of Darkness. So for all your dark themed pirates or mariners. And then 100 is the Legendary Coffer of the Eerie Apothecary Housing Bundle. So I'm really curious about that, but it's eerie housing decorations. So I think I may end up having to make like a Halloween house or something with all of that. But anyway, okay, so that's where we are on the reward track. So they're not things that I couldn't live without for sure, but I kind of am in a place where I'm like, well, I want to know if I can do this. So right now we've got 2 months and 3 days left of the reward track. Sorry about that, if that made any noise. And so what I've been doing is I've been coming in with my lovely elf Narna here. And she's running around. And so we're here because I finished talking to Bilbo the other day. There are 2 sets of what are called the Further Adventures. So there's a Further Adventures of Bilbo Baggins. And, excuse me, we picked that up from somebody else. And then there's also the Further Adventures of Elrohir and Elladan. So it's basically kind of like a little set of side quests that you engage in with a specific character or set of characters. Okay, see this blue going on here? I don't think it's supposed to be like that. There's like some glitch I've heard about, and I've experienced it recently, where the last homely house is blue. So like occasionally, and it's usually this room that gets hit by it. Yeah, look, there's some serious blue happening down here. But, so I wonder if it's like bleeding through or something. I don't know. But there's times when I've logged in and I'm here in this, in Elrond's library, and everything is blue. Like the characters are blue, the walls are blue, the floor is blue, y'all are blue, like everything's blue. Yeah, so that's a little wacky. Oh. Okay, so we're going to start with Elrond. And the thing you got to be careful about with Elrond is he always has stuff he wants to talk to you about, right? So I don't want to talk to him about these other things yet. I'm not progressing this character that far. So I have to be like, he's like, oh, by the way, I want to talk to you. I'm like, no, 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 not right now. I'll run. I will get back to you. Maybe there's another adventurer who can kind of find these things out for you. I just want to talk to you about your sons right now. So, so you just have to get him to like have the conversation with you that you are trying to have with him. So, but he respects your boundaries. Okay, so the further adventure begins on October 3018 before chapter 4, book 1, chapter 1, which is Where's the Horse and the Rider in the Lotro world. So beware that you may find yourself traveling through more dangerous areas of Middle Earth throughout this adventure. So, hey, Megan. Hi, y'all. Hi, Megan. Welcome to the chat. So, so with him, you pick up the quest. So what's happening here is, he says, I have an undertaking that I believe you would be suited for. Servants of the enemy, under the guise of riders in black, have recently tried to cross the Brunnen. The river's waters swept them away at my command. Perhaps they no longer threaten Imladris, but we cannot be certain. Scouts have been sent out to determine whether the Black Riders truly fell at the ford. My sons will soon set out to do the same, but I have also entrusted them with an errand of their own. I would ask that you travel with them to Lothlorien to meet with their grandmother, Lady Galadriel. Though I cannot fully reveal the purpose of their errand, I trust that the three of you will keep each other safe. Elladan waits for you outside. May your search bear fruit. So that's what we're trying to do here. So yeah, we're at the point where the riders have been swept away. Frodo and company are here in Imladris, chilling out, getting healthy, all of that. So that's the point we're at, and they don't know the fate of the 9, but they're kind of speculating, and they're trying to see if they can find any clues or any evidence as to, are they like right outside their door, or did they, go back to Sauron to kind of regroup? Like, what's the scoop? What can we find out? So that's part of what Elladan and Elrohir are sent off to do here, and so that's what we go and accompany them to do. So, so after you talk to Elrond, Elladan is outside the library here, kind of along the path that you ran by. And he says, Hail, Elrohir, his brother, has gone ahead to search the Brunnen, but he wished to pass on his greetings as well. So it's like this whole thing, like as if they know you. We're to travel south to Eregion, then through the Redhorn Pass into Lothlorien. Make any preparations you require. We have a long trek ahead of us. You really don't have to make any preparations. I mean, I've got my Wenda. Good there. That's really all I need. Okay. So the way they work this is you travel then into what's going on. So we've kept Elrohir waiting long enough. Now, there is a twist in here in that called Sacrificial. At low health, monsters in this mission will attempt to end their own lives to damage and apply a fear effect to those nearby. So you just have to be prepared for that. But if you're overpowered, it doesn't harm you. So you're out here. We are up here kind of by the High Moor on our way down towards the Brunnen. And you don't see anybody, but you just take a couple steps forward and then they resolve in. So that's kind of how this works. So Elladan's here. You have a chat. He tells you that other scouts have seen incense swarming around here, but they've never seen this kind of an infestation before. And they were kind of having like a little competition to see who could defeat how many. And we're going to work together to help him improve his numbers. In him and his brother's little competition, because they're silly like that. Well, I was trying to gather that thing over here. There we go. Kershblux. So then he's like, haha, that's 4. He's very silly. Yeah, they bring in stuff from other pieces of the story. All right, so now we've got these guys. Nine. So they always like run back to catch back up to their pathing where they were, but I kind of figured that out. I kind of like, my little headcanon is that they're this is part of their thorough searching for clues, you know. They run back and they're checking to see if there's anything over here that they missed. Nope, doesn't look like it. Okay. Well, let's continue over here. Oh, I see some stuff over there. Are those horses? Well, then let's add a few more of these pests to our count. Oh, we've got stuff here. He's going to double check. And now we see... Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I'm a little tired today. He says, it seems the swarm found the Black Rider's mounts. I count only 3 steeds, however. The river may have carried the rest further. Go find Elrohir in the fens and see if he requires aid. I shall stay behind to make sure the riders did not escape into the woods. Oh, and let him know how many insects we defeated. I'm sure he was no match for us. So we're up here at the moment where the crossing was. But we're going to pop down. And now we're down here a little bit. So, you know, we're just checking out along the river. And I'm going to do a little gathering because I've discovered that minstrels can do this kind of fun stuff. After watching Before play a bunch, because he is always playing a minstrel, yo, get down here. There we go. And you do that, and like, kabam. It's not just easier. I like that. All right. Well, here's Elrohir. Let us clear this place of vermin, he says. So we got all sorts of stuff to fight off here, too. He says, okay, is there no end? Indeed. Oh, yeah, and then these guys go underground sometimes, which is kind of annoying, but that's right. You just wait them out. That's where I do miss my hunter traps, because a lot of times I'll just stick a hunter trap on top of where they're supposed to come back out, and then they go, wonk. All right, that's the last of them. How has your search fared? Elladan convinced you to help him with our little competition, didn't he? I kept track at first, but... And then he gestures to the nearby horse corpses with a sigh. What I found, or rather what I didn't find, troubled me. 3 horses upstream, 5 here. Well, that makes 8 of the 9 mounts accounted for. I scoured every part of the woods for the riders, but to no avail. If any of them linger in the troll shaws, they have made themselves scarce. Well, hold on. What's that in the water? Is that a cloak? So he's saying, you know, they have 8 out of the 9 mounts accounted for. And then if you're following the epic storyline, you end up looking for the 9th rider, and that takes you into those different caves and stuff. And, what's his name? He's in the books, but not the movie, but he's definitely in Lotro, gives you the stone. Oh, I can't forget his name. He stands over by the waterfall. Anyway, you know, you're going and doing all these quests, and he's like, you know, you're like, oh, I didn't find anything. I didn't find the 9th rider. And he's like, no, this is totally fine. Like, we just know that they're not here, but that's fine. It means they've gone elsewhere, and we're okay with this information. Glorfindel, thank you, Ginger. Like, you know, the Lotro brain, we all have the knowledge in one group, but not in one individual. We are Borg. Lotraborg. Yeah, Glorfindel. Glorfindel sends you off to go and look around. So that's where this is, and that's how that information that we're finding here plays into that. Okay, so we're going to check out this black cloak, which we believe belonged to one of the riders. So Elladan comes running in. He's like, I couldn't find anything of note. I hope your search fared better. He says, we found this black cloak, but nothing more. Well, and 5 more horses. So I think that's, you know. So that's the only trace left. He says, my hope is that they have fled back to their master, though that is mere speculation. He's like, well, the answers do escape us for now. But that is the end of this beginning of the story. So you have a mission reward box that you got to click on. Well, you don't have to, but if you want your tokens, you got to click on it. So there we go. He says, there's nothing else that can be done here. We should continue moving. So the way they do this particular set of further adventures is now we're up at Ecad Candleth, up, you know, just up the slope from where we just were. And you talk to Elrohir, and that finishes that, and you get some tokens, and you get some legendary item experiences, which is what I'm here for. Borg, oh no. Okay, how about we be, I don't know, what would be a different, we're a wiki? We're a living wiki? How's that? Is that more palatable? Okay, so then you can pick up the next chapter basically right where he's standing. So you don't have to go anywhere. But if you don't want to do all of the chapters and do them in order, you're kind of out of luck because for this particular way that they've set it up, the chapters are in order and they're going to bop you around places of Middle Earth for each following chapter. So it's best, I've found, to just go ahead and do them all and do them in order because then you end up back closing the loop. So the next one is chapter 2. He says, I spied one of the great eagles. Perhaps they bear fresh news. Let's set out for a region. So now this is also a really handy way to grab a couple of stable masters if you haven't done that already. I realized that the last time I was doing this with this character that I didn't have the stable master for Head Candleless, so I went ahead and grabbed it while I was here. So you can just be like, hang on, yo, I'll be right back, and just, ride up the hill, talk to the stable master, come back down, he's still standing here. All right, watch the skies. I will do the same. So each one of these chapters, they have like a special thing that can happen vis-a-vis the enemies, but I haven't found it to be something I've had to worry about necessarily. Like this one has crushing, but I'm fine. So anyway, each one does have a little thing, and it is worth keeping an eye on if you are having trouble. What I've done is chosen a character that I can just go through without having to think too hard because I'm kind of tired, and that makes it easier for me. All right, he says, I'm certain the eagle noticed our presence and flew here, but I don't see him. He surveys the area outside the ruins and frowns. So he's like, hey, bro, we're going to go take a look around. And he's like, okay, cool, I'll stay here just in case. Careful, bro. He's like, don't worry, we'll be back soon. They're so cute. They're always running around together. They're taking care of each other. Okay, is that a dead boar, he says. What the what, yo? All right, and he's like, wow, take a look at those footprints. They are some large footprints, I agree. All right, and the footprints continue to the southwest. He says, well, whatever killed these boars was an even match in size for our friend, the eagle. He holds up a feather that is certainly too large to belong to any normal bird. It seems I wasn't wrong about his location after all. The eagle has been here. He says he must have left the area once he realized he had intruded on something's territory. I doubt that creature, whatever it was, wasn't even match in power, of course, but... And after all, the eagles are a more than capable folk. But this creature may be dangerous to anyone traveling through the area, and that does not bode well for our errand. Let's track it down. So he's like, I'm not worried about the eagle being able to, go toe-to-toe with this thing, or claw-to-claw. But, other folks traveling through here might find whatever's going on to be, a bit more dangerous than what they are capable of handling. So we're kind of making the way a little safer because we are here in Eregion now. And the Redhorn passes over there, Moria down there, and so on and so on. Oh, I forgot to make my phone be quiet. We are like under a thunderstorm warning. It's supposed to get all crazy rainy. More dead boars, he says. And he also found a little nest of mini dragonettes. And another one behind. I forgot about those 3. 4. Got him. Thanks. All right. I suppose the Drakelings hated having their meal interrupted. Indeed. Now we've got a young Drake and some fire whelpings, so we're kind of getting into some, we're moving into some older and older ones as we move through here. First it was just the little whelplings, and now we've got some little Drakes. Oops. Hello. Okay. Yeah. P4 says the weather in Netherlands has been pretty chaotic feeling today. Yeah. Okay, so now we've got a young fire drake and another young fire drake, but that one's kind of bigger than the other one. We have been having like really warm weather, like to the point where I was still, keeping all the shorts handy and you know, cooler shirts and all of that. And then all of a sudden, as of like yesterday, starting yesterday, the temperatures just went boom. Okay, so we kind of get to this point a lot of times in a number of these where he's like, you're fighting along with him, but then he'll be like, hey, here's this situation in front of us. Why don't you go take a look and I'll follow your lead? So they're waiting for you to continue the mission moving forward. So you can't just like follow them and let them handle all of the combat. You have to actually engage here or get it started. So here's the matron, and that's who we're seeing, along with some little fire whelplings. That is not an easy word to say. All right, but they're all done now. Well fought, he says. So the Drake matron commanded a most fearsome brood. It'll be safer here now, though I fear that will change. We ought to head back to Pembar. Elladan must be wondering where we are. So, Hyazinta says hi. Hello. Welcome. So now we're still back in the same area, right? And Elrohir has landed and has something to talk to us about. So he says, greetings. You have my thanks for defeating the Drakes. I had no desire to involve myself with them, seeing as how they do not threaten me or my kin, but they did not care for my presence. At least I may now deliver my message more easily. We have not discovered any sign of the Black Riders, nor any tidings of the enemy's servants. However, wolves gather along the banks of the Anduin in great numbers. What this indicates, I cannot say I know. Okay, so Elrohir and Elladan are kind of like, well, so if even your people haven't seen the Riders, maybe they have gone north. Well, maybe they're hiding, maybe they're trying to fool us. But yeah, I think we're going to start to assume that they've gone north. So that's the end of that. And Elrohir is going to be, says, all right, I will take my leave. I have given you the information I have. Goodbye. All right, so now we skip on to our next location, which takes us down here to Elrohir. And again, if you haven't met the stable master, now is a fantastic time to do so. I took care of that last time I was here, actually, so that was really handy. So you'll notice that there's no rings or anything going on, because I think from a storyline perspective, or from a game perspective, it believes that I'm still in the mission, basically, because the current quest I'm on is chapter 2, and notice how I have to finish it still. And he's kind of like, gives you a little recap, you know, sorry, I didn't thank you for helping us at Pembar. I needed time to gather my thoughts. When the two of you left, I found myself pacing, perhaps out of nervousness, perhaps the gravity of the errand we've been entrusted with, or does my worry stem from everything else that's happening? The forces at play have long since been set in motion. There is much we don't have control over, but I tell myself we are doing what we can. I have to believe that. So we finished that, and now you'll notice all the rings start to show up. There's interactive. So if I wanted to bail and just do stuff from here, I totally could. But I'm going to continue going with the missions. So he says it's best not to tarry here any longer. The Redhorn Pass can be treacherous during the warmest of months, and we are fast approaching winter. Be on the lookout for orcs, most of all. They plague the mountain and have waylaid many an unfortunate traveler. So we're going to try the Redhorn Pass with the guys. The twist we have here is persistent cold. Some monsters in this mission will apply a persistent cold debuff that can only be removed at bonfires found in the mission. So we are up at Kirith Haradras, which I was like, wait, what? Where is this? And unfortunately, it's not showing us on the map, but it would be... Oh, I went and tried to actually get myself to it. Yeah, right? It would be... Well, that's too big. Like... Yeah, kind of like... Because it would be where the waters come out and feed the... something mirror. Right? So that would be... Is this the waters that it feeds? Maybe not. It's not the Misties. That's too far. Oh, now I'm back at the Troll Shaws. Yeah, let's try that again. So I think Dimmerald Dale, Vales of Anduin. I think it's going to be off in this area, right? I think it might be Caradhras, where we're trying to cross, is going to be... Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know the Misty Mountains. I'm looking at my fat map on the wall. I don't know where Caradhras is as well as I probably could. So if you are a cartographer or a cartophile, let me know where exactly Caradhras is. But wherever it is, that's where we are, and that's where we're trying to pass. So we've got this cool... Let's see, how far can I go out to show you? So we've got like all these braziers here, and we've made our way up the pass, and now we're like... There's some structures. Every so often you'll find some structures. Like there's one here, and then there's one way at the end. But they're obviously crumbling, so they haven't been like maintained. But somehow these braziers are going, so I don't know about that one. Anyway, so we're getting into some of the lore of their family. And so he says, neither Elrohir nor I enjoy the idea of taking the pass, but I confess that orcs are not the sole reason. Many years ago, our mother traveled through here to visit our grandparents in Laurelin. She never made it to her destination. Orcs captured her. And when we realized she had disappeared, my brother and I set out to find her. After weeks of searching, we found her alive. And then he kind of trails off with the memory of it. We'll keep each other safe. We must. So they are, and so throughout this particular mission, there's dialogue occasionally between the two or from one or the other about that. Because, yeah, that is part of the Lord of the Rings lore, is that their mother was basically kidnapped by orcs, and then eventually she was rescued, but it was not a happy time, and she never fully recovered from the whole thing, and so she has already by this point left Middle Earth and sailed to the west. So in fact, they even mention in here, they kind of talk about it, and they're like, will we ever see her again? Because, like, are they going to stay in Middle Earth and continue to, protect it and be a part of everything here? Or will they at some point leave Middle Earth and, and see her again? So it's definitely something that's on their mind. They are still around when Lord of the Rings enters the Fourth Age. They stick around and help out with a lot of stuff for quite a while. And I don't remember if it's ever definitively said whether they make it onto a boat and sail west or not. So, if you have that cold effect, these are the fires that you can stand next to. Provides a soothing warmth. Huddling close to the fire, you feel the cold slowly dissipate from your body. So yeah, so if you end up with a cold effect on you and you're doing this mission, that's how you can get rid of it. I don't know if the Hunter's Campfire also works, but I'm playing Minstrel, so I can't test that. Oh yeah. I put my tea in front of me in order to, like, drink more of it while it's still warm. Yeah, so I have the cold effect on me right now. I have gnawing cold, minus 108 frost mitigation, and it should last for an hour, but there we go. I've managed to dispel it from standing next to the fire. So that's really nice. All right, so he is commenting about the fact that we've come already this far. We haven't seen any orcs or any servants of Sauron, and that seems really odd. Now, there's a mysterious figure that they see in the distance. So somebody is playing hijinks out here. But then we have these frost grims that get in our way. Elrohir has run off to figure out who that mysterious figure was. But Elladan's still here. He says, he must have thought we were following close behind. We've got to find him quickly. So the two of us go searching for Elrohir. Any tracks he leaves behind will be difficult to find. We can only hope he continued up this pass. So you can see we've already come up quite a ways, which is pretty cool. And there's the braziers that have been illuminating our path. And now we're continuing up through the pass. I'm going to go ahead of him a little bit and just start some of this combat. Get it moving. I know, I'm taking away some of his fun, I suppose. He's like, you saw that, didn't you? That person, that figure? I'm not sure what it was or who. And it never is quite definitive what's going on here, but I think we've, like, heard that Sauron had... Oh, right, we have stuff behind us now. Might have been trying to, like, mess with people's minds from time to time, so there could be some of that involved here. You know, maybe he is exerting some influence in this direction somehow. Hang on, I should heal up a little bit. Because I'm a minstrel, I can do that. Oh, I didn't actually get rid of the cold. I didn't stand there long enough. There's that mysterious figure in the snow again. I'll stand here for a second. Oh, cool, it's dispelled. Orcs haven't attacked us yet. This can't be their doing, can it? Yeah, it must be something else. Tony in chat asks, does this game have Moria and is it expansive? Yes and yes. I'm currently playing through kind of like a little side story with Elrohir and Elladan, so I'm not running around in the normal landscape. But yes, you start off in Eriador, which has like the Shire and Bree and hang on, let me follow Elladan. I'll show you a map real quick. So you start off over here in Eriador. So you've got like Eredluin, which has Thorn's Hall, so the dwarves, and you've got Celondim, we've got some elves, you know, kind of like heading off. Well, actually they're further on, but anyway. You've got the Shire, Hobbiton, all of that. You've got Breeland with Bree, the town of Bree. You got Weathertop. So the game starts you off in that area, and then if you follow along with the storyline, you then do eventually, make your way over to Moria, and down, down, down you go. All right, so we're going to continue to follow Elladan. So yeah, so then you come out of Eriador and go into Moria over here. There's the gates of Moria. Where did I go? Here we go. The walls of Moria. So you go through this little area and then it takes you into Moria. Ta-da! Oh, hang on, I'm in combat. I should do something about that. And it is very three-dimensional. It is not OSHA approved, as we say. You can fall long, long ways, many, many places in Moria. It's really quite impressive. It just has these like sweeping ceilings. It's really interesting too because they, by making it so like three-dimensional, that's really hard to capture on a two-dimensional map, right? So, hang on, let me get to the end of this mission, or at least through this combat, and I'll show you kind of how they've done it a little bit. All right. I need to follow you, Elladan. Thank you. So if you are... Moria. So kind of like Durin's Way up here is kind of on a higher level, and the 21st Hall, and like the Great Delving, Zalamalek, Nudmalek are kind of in that or a little bit lower, and then like the Silvertone Lodes and the Redhorn Lodes are a little bit lower, and then you get down to like the Waterworks, the Flaming Deeps, and the Foundations of Stone, and that is like the very like bottoms of Moria, like the foundations of stone, is where you find the endless stair. You find the bottom of the endless stair, and then. Yeah, okay, hang on. Let me show you. Let me go back in there again, real quick. So the foundations of stone is where you find the bottom of the endless stair, and then there's a door out in one area that takes you out to Zurich Zigel, and that is where you find the body of the Balrog, and yeah, so it's like you see, like it takes you through that whole. Let me go back out again. So yeah, so you've got all those different layers. Like you can fall down from Silvertone, no, from the 21st Hall? Is that right? There's a well, and you can fall down it, and you end up down in the waterworks. Yeah, so there's, and you've got like, and then you've got like the first hall over here, you've got the 21st Hall over here. So it's crazy expansive. Is this on console? I don't think so. Hang on, let me pick up my mission. Now, just a quick note, I don't actually work for Standing Stone Games, the people who put this out. I just, play the game. So just for anybody who's tracking, we're now in Laurelin here on the, right on the edge of the Golden Forest with these guys. So we've got all these various folks standing around, keeping an eye on things. So we'll finish that and pick up the next one where we need to, let's see. He's been dwelling on the news that Gwaihir brought us about the wolf presence along the Anduin. So the Galadrim here have assured us that no wolves have been spotted, but that may change the deeper we venture into the woods. So he feels like trouble is lurking around the corner. So we're gonna go and do a little investigation. Anyway, so Tony, I do not believe this is available on console per se. I know people have tried to play it using some version of, like, by using their controllers and stuff. But my understanding is, yeah, it's a PC. You can play it through Steam. So that's your other option. So I don't know if you could do Steam through console. All right, so we found some wolves. He's like, well, it appears my brother's suspicions about the wolves are correct. His gaze falls on the bear cub, which stares at your group warily. He says, this little one must have gotten separated from its mother. Shall we help it return to her? And he smiles gently. So this mission, the rest of it, we're going to follow the bear cub and protect it from the wolves that we have found and that we find here in the Golden Wood. So that's that's pretty much what's happening here. And we encounter some wargs also, so that's a little bit of a surprise, right? Yeah. So anyway, so Tony, on Fridays at noon Eastern time, that's the kind of the base time for the game, is Eastern time, because that's where the company is located. That's where Standing Stone Games is located, like in the Boston area. Anyway, so at noon Eastern time, the community manager, Cordovan, he streams here on this Twitch channel, on Locho Stream. And he has done some work on, personally, trying to play the game using something. Steam Deck? No, I don't remember what he used. And he was experimenting with that. So the console question, he might actually have some amusing thoughts on that. But no, I'm pretty sure it's not on console, and I don't think there's any plans to port it to console anytime soon. That's a lot of work, you know what I mean? To move something from PC to console or console to PC. Doesn't work very well, from what I understand. Kind of sad, but I'm actually a little frustrated with console in general, just because it's like cell phones, where they want you to buy a new one every couple of years, even though the previous one is fine. So I haven't bought a console recently. Like, we moved, internationally. I moved from the US to Europe a couple of, 6 years ago now. Gosh, 6 years, that's, time flies. And we haven't bought a console yet, because I'm just like, I don't even know which one I would want to get. I'm pretty happy with PC games at this point. So, which is really funny because I used to be console only, and I could not really, I never really enjoyed playing PC games, but now I'm completely the opposite, which is kind of funny. I think what it is that I was used to a controller and I could just like do all this stuff, right? And trying to do it on a computer, keyboard, and a mouse was awkward. Oh, here he is again. We'll follow your lead. So, now what I've noticed is you kind of want to like wait until he, you know, says it and then he's done saying it. Because if you get up here too early, it doesn't trigger. Like, I don't know. For some reason, it's just like they haven't gotten to that point. So I've ended up going back and just standing by the guys and waiting for them to actually finish and then trigger it. And then it works. So Megan says, I've played this with a PS4 controller on my computer. Hey, very nice. I like it. Oh, hang on. We got to get rid of the other stuff by the mother bear. Okay. Now we can talk to this Dusk Warg who actually has things to say. Any keybind tips? Ooh, yeah. Megan! Also unrelated, but I got my first Nazgul kill this morning. Oh, congratulations. Yeah, I'm not playing on Mordor today. I'm playing over here on Laurelin because I'm trying to get my legendary item reward experience. Keep working on that. Only died twice. Oh, well, congratulations. That is awesome. Yeah, I haven't been over on Mordor since the festival ended, and I'm like kind of jonesing for it a little bit, but I've been playing other stuff, so as it goes. Oh, so key binding. There's a lot of times in the game when you need to click on something, and finding it on landscape or whatever, you could use your mouse and just be like click, 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 trying to find it. But oh, here we are just outside of Lothlorien, by the way. Outside of the city. Sorry. Anyway, Karis all right. But anyway, so select and use are a game changer for me. And by default, it's select is delete and use is the letter U. So what I did on my keyboard is my delete key is over here, and then I rebound the key next to it to be my use button. So I can just go select use, select use, select use right next to each other. I found that super handy. Also, I come to this from a background of working in offices, and so I'm a touch typer, and so I just instinctually want my fingers to be in a certain place on the keyboard. And for movement, I want my first three fingers to do the movement. I don't want to try and be doing it with my pinky. It's just not comfortable for me. So I basically took my WASD, which is the WASD over on the side, which is your movement, your forward, back, side to side stuff. And I moved it basically one letter over, which boggles people's minds who are just like huge into WASD, because basically WASD is these keys over here over here, right? And that's where you're supposed to be doing all your movement with those keys there. So I basically moved it over by one. And it just makes me so much happier because then I can just have my fingers in the right place. And then my movement is, so I just have it like movement is here, side to side is here. Like it's just, yeah. So that's a key binding that I have found super handy. Also, in Lord of the Rings Online, there's this weird thing where you can direct where you're looking manually, like I'm doing, and most people do. Or you can be like, if you're targeted on a creature and it moves, that the camera automatically moves for you. But as you're taking out one thing and then taking out a different thing, taking out a different thing, it can be kind of disorienting. And so the majority of players don't like that auto camera movement. And that is by default bound to X. And most people will recommend you just unbind that completely. Just like take it away. Don't even use it. So I'll show you. It's in the options screen where you do all this key binding. So I'll show you that in a minute. Maybe kind of get to probably the end of this because there's combat pretty much through it. I'm trying to think what other things I've done. Oh yeah, locking and unlocking. So all of my little buttons down at the bottom of the screen over there, you can choose, where you put things. And it can be really easy for me because sometimes I keyboard click the numbers, but sometimes I manually click them with the mouse, right? So I'm like manually clicking the various things down there. And it's really easy to click and drag by mistake. And so you can lock all of that stuff. So right now I have it locked. So if I like grab it and drag it, nothing happens. And if you unlock your quick slot bar, now I can drag things and move them. So I make sure I have that locked. And I set that to like way over here. So it's a giant button so I can find it really easy, but it's way out of the way so I don't hit it by mistake. So Zach King asks, is this a preview of the Morgoth expansion? It is not. You have the cleanest keyboard ever. I mean, it's white. It looks clean. It's got cat hair all over it. It's not as clean as it looks. But I appreciate that, Megan. Thank you. What is going on? He's got like sparkly hands today. Over here, what have you been doing? Are you trying to take after a minstrel? Like, check. I don't know what he's doing, but his hands have been sparkly when he's talking. Let's see if I can. There he goes. Oh, he did it again just as I look away. Look at that. He's all sparkly hands today. What's going on? He's trying out some like new gloves or something. I don't know. So anyway, so Zach King. The Morgoth expansion, they're going to be doing that on Wednesday. So that'll be tomorrow, starting at, I think, 2 Eastern time, if I recall correctly. I saw it published somewhere. Let me see. Is there a thing? No. I just wasn't sure if maybe Moobot could tell us more information. Anyway, so we're hanging out in the Garden of Galadriel. So cool. Like, that's pretty top tier here. Hanging out with Galadriel, her secret private garden. It's very kind of her to let us in here. Oh, thanks, Ginger. Ginger says, I was on Facebook. I can look. Yeah, I know there's more details because I just saw it somewhere. And I wasn't on Facebook because I don't use Facebook really anymore. And I wasn't on X, Twitter, or Blue Sky today. I can't remember where I saw it. Oh, maybe it was in the launcher. That could have been it. Okay, so 2 p.m. Eastern. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, Discord. Oh, maybe I did see something in Discord, Shire Hobbit. That could have been. I do look at the Discord on a regular basis. Like, Discord in general. Let me not. There's a specific one. Let's see. Yeah, not seeing it there. But yes, as Ginger says, 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. And then I think every week for like 5 weeks in a row is the new Morgoth expansion with different areas. So that's pretty exciting. I believe it's Scenario who's doing it. And Scenario is one of the SSG community, SSG world builders. And so he does a lot of like, the creation of like, this sort of thing. And it's pretty neat. Anyway, Celeborn wants to have a word with me. So that's nice. He has a lot to say, but basically he's like, thanks for keeping these guys safe and tell me everything you know. And so you tell him everything you know because he's good at getting that from people. And then Lady Galadriel wants to talk to us and she's like, thank you for keeping the boys safe. And there's a lot going on, but try and get some rest while you are here. I'm like, dude, I need a Lothlorien to go and like rest and recover in. I think that sounds fantastic. So, and then they send us back to Elrond, and he is not quite ready to talk to us. So, also it's probably in the forums, you know, now that I think about it. Forum, Lotro. Oh, that's the cave troll one. Oh yeah. Let's see. They did a episode of We Have a Cave Troll, which is Scenario and Orion together, which is fantastic. And then, yeah, here it is. Yeah, I saw this somewhere. Okay, so let me put this in the chat, unless you guys have already done it when I wasn't looking. There we go. Oin says, good day. Good day. So they're over in the forums. I love how, like, the link is the title, and the title is ridiculously long. So we're starting a series of previews of the regions coming to the game with our Legacy of Morgoth expansion. So starting tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, a casual stroll. That's the name of the show that Scenario does. It's always a casual stroll through, and then blah, 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 wherever it is. So this will be a casual stroll through Legacy of Morgoth. And he's starting with Ambarul. And then next week it's Kud Zagin. And then Imhular. Urash Dar, and then finally the Legacy of Morgoth instances. So that's exciting. And yeah, so that'll be the new expansion to keep an eye out for. So cool. All right, so Elrond's ready to talk to me now. So then you just come to him and you wrap it up. And he's like, well, I've been told your journey to Lorien was rather eventful. Still, you persisted and completed your task admirably. Though travel and adventure have separated my sons from me before, every time they venture forth, my heart grows uneasy. For what parent cannot stand not knowing where their children are, or can stand? But this time I was comforted knowing you were by their side. Thank you. They have found a true friend in you. Yay. It's really funny because sometimes these things they'll say, you know, something like, I'm sure they'll go wandering again, so maybe pop by later and see if they can use your help again, because you can do this every day. So I enjoy how they kind of like, you know, put that in there in a funny way. Oh, good, I got it this time. Yeah. I just, I'm a rascal. I just jumped on the roof of there. Okay, so now we're going to leave the house. So we're just going to go outside the house. And we're going to run over here. And over here in this little lovely gazebo, it's both indoors and outdoors all at the same time. Here is Celebrier, not to be confused with the gentleman I was trying to remember the name of earlier, which is Glorfindel. I don't know why I think a G and a C are the same letter, but yeah, Glorfindel hanging out up the hill over there, kind of by the waterfall, in a glow of light, because he's special. So anyway, so this guy, he is like, hey, hey. So now the further adventure, this one, begins on January 12th, 3019. So very close to the other one, but not quite. A little bit after, because it is after Forward the Fellowship Departs. So the series we just did was after the riders have been hit by the water at the fords of Brunnen, and Frodo and company have made it to the house. So we're during that time. So then, okay, so we've did that. And then after that, you know, Frodo recovers. They have the conversation with Elrond. What's it called? The Council of Elrond. And conversation with Elrond. I mean, it's kind of the same thing, right? And then, you know, they come down to the whole thing of, well, we've got this ring and we got to do something about it. And, you know, finally they get to the conclusion of, well, we got to destroy it. And they figure out to destroy it. it's got to be a bit of a journey, and they're going to walk. Why don't we walk? And they walk their way, you know, that's the whole plan, is they're going to walk over and destroy the ring. So the Fellowship has left Lothlorien, or sorry, Imladris, and they're walking away. So sometime after they've left, we then get to this further adventure, which involves Bilbo Baggins. So so this elf says, oh, he has a big yawn apparently. Sorry, let me grab a drink. Oh, yeah, before I leave, I want to make sure I spend some of my coin. Okay, but he says, might you spare a moment of your time? He's very elvish there, you know. It is the phrase of the day. He says, it's almost certainly nothing, but I should not care to face the master of the house, Elrond, if it turns out otherwise. I understand you know Bilbo Baggins. Yes, the Hobbit currently in residence here at the last homely house. Guest of Lord Elrond and welcomed by all. I had a question for him of great importance, but when I sought for him, I could find no sign of him in any of his usual haunts. That's quite unusual. Will you accept this mission? I need you to find him for me. Like, sure. Now, a couple things I want to point out real quick. This set of further adventures, you'll notice that they're all listed here with the same person. So you can actually, after you've done it once, the whole list is available to you the following day. Like, you can only do these once a day, but once you've done it a first time, from then on, all of them are available to you as a full list. So I could be like, I'm just going to do number 7. I'm just going to do number 1. I'm just going to do number 10. Like, you can skip around. You can do some and not all. You can do whatever you want with this. So it's a little bit different from the Elrohir and Elladan adventures, where they, you know, basically take you one to the next, to the next, to the next, where you can't really skip around easily. So I just wanted to point that out. Okay, I'm going to barter real quick because there's a token limit of 400, I believe. And it's really sad when you get to that limit and you're just like, I wish I had spent coin because I don't want to waste them. So I've just been buying up tomes of the pets, and then I'll have them available for like giveaways and stuff. So let me plop that in my parties bucket because that's where I put that sort of thing. Oh, the other thing is I wanted to go to the other person's question from earlier. Tony was asking about the key bindings. So if you go into the options menu, which by default the key binding to get to that is Control O. Yeah. Or you can, I believe, get to it from here. So I have a UI skin. So by default, excuse me, normally all of this stuff is kind of got a bluish color, but mine's got kind of a greenish color with a bunch of vines. I just happen to be standing around a bunch of vines. It all blends in. Let me step over here for a second. So it's all very viney around like my map and all of my stuff because that's the UI skin, user interface skin that I have applied. But normally it's more blue, and this over here is like a little chevron, a little carrot there. So you click on that and that brings up a large set of menus. And sorry, some of them are kind of behind my screen here, but you are looking for the options menu, which, yeah, if you go to the tippy top, that one there is called System, and then under that is Options, and it does tell you what the key binding is to get to it. So if you want to just do the shortcut, you always can, just using the shortcut that's listed there. So okay, so that brings up the Options menu, and looking at the options, you would go to down here at the bottom, the one that says Key Mapping. It's the second from the bottom. So click on that, and then you have a huge range of things that you can play around with. Now this first set here is your movement, so that's where I moved my WASD over by one letter because I like that. And like you can run forward, you can have like an auto run, and so I have changed that to a different key than was the default. I've just put it a place that I prefer. You can also like toggle walking and running. So like walking, running, walking, running. So like those kinds of keybinds are what's listed in this first section. Okay, and then you get to like your quick slots. Like how do you get from the current page of quick slots that I have? By default, you get 2 of those pages. So I've got one page here, and then like my second page is a lot of emotes and stuff for doing social stuff. And then once you've reached the point where you would get a war steed, so like level 75, I think it is, you get a 3rd page. So how do you navigate between those pages? You know, that's what starts there. But then you get into like your quick slots along the bar, like, you know, the first one, the second one, the third one. And by default, they're just the numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, and then, let's see, like, equal sign and some other things. So you can adjust that though if you don't want that. And then you have like your second bar, which currently is control, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, so on. And then the next one is alt and so forth. And then this one's shift and so forth. You can adjust that if you don't like that. So anyway, so this scroll bar here, I don't know if you can see, let me scooch this back to the middle, but there are, after we get past the quick slots, still a whole lot of options of things that you can assign key bindings to. So it's, yeah, it's worth it if you're like, oh, this would be really handy if it was just this. You can go and just, it's really handy to be able to go in and modify stuff. Now, sometimes it's worth just leaving stuff the way it is. Like I have, like the crafting is T, I'm just used to it. And I think of crafting, T for crafting, or the O for the social panel. I've said that so many times that I don't think I could switch it to any other letter. Things like that. C for the character panel, you know, stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't know. B4 says, I think you could arrive at one of the Elladan and Elrohir locations after getting that far and pick it up in the middle, but that'd be much more less convenient. Yeah, I think so. I think you would have to be at that. So like if I did like the first 3 quests and then I was like, oh, I got to go do other things, I could leave it there and then I could come back and it would still be at that point, but I couldn't do any of the further ones and I couldn't do any of the earlier ones, I'm pretty sure. I haven't actually tried that though, so I don't know. So anyway, so let's see, Doom asked, what is the max level? And before I answered that currently on all the regular servers, as it were, 150 is the max. And then for the legendary servers, Treebeard is the oldest one at this point, and it is at level 100 as a max. Are we at 100? Not 105? Okay. And Angmar and Mordor are currently maxed at level 50, so they just have Eriador right now. They haven't gotten Mordor yet, but that's the, sorry, Moria, not Mordor. So let me scooch out of Rivendell for a second. So currently, yeah, Angmar and Mordor, the servers, have just this area. And then when they go up, they will get Moria, which is the next one you go through. So yes, yeah, B4 points out that 50, 100, 150 is nicely symmetric at the moment, but they'll get out of sync soon enough. Yeah, it's so easy to remember as before, the social panel. All right, so we're gonna start this adventure here. This one's easy. It's just talking and then running around and talking to other people. So there's no combat in this first one. So Epic Games TV says, are you ready for the upcoming birthday? The party starts in 10 days. Oh, are we talking about Bilbo and Frodo? Their birthdays? Okay, yeah, the day is on the 22nd. Yeah, so in-game, in Lotro, they always have a Bilbo's birthday thing that you can do, so that's kind of fun. I think I've done it. The party starts on the 20th. Woot, woot. Yeah, they give it like a long weekend kind of time frame. So yeah. Doom asks, how long is it to get to max level? Oh, is it long? Is it long to get to max level? I mean, I guess it depends on what you're doing. Over on Angmar Mordor, no, because it's only level 50. So you could get there quickly if you wanted to. The thing with Lotro, though, is don't think of it like you're like another MMO, like a WoW or something like that, where you're just like, there's nothing to do except, oh, you got to be at max level to do all the things. Like, it's not like that. It's, there's a lot of things you can do at the various lower levels, and there's so much in the game that it's really about the journey. It's really about enjoying the different things in the different areas, the different zones that you're working your way through. And there's a lot of fun storyline. It's like, I'm kind of skipping through the conversations that these characters are having right now, but that's because I've done this before. But even still, every so often, I will stop and reread it again because there's just some really nice like tie-ins to the lore. Like they'll mention things that you're like, oh, that reminds me of this piece of, you know, in the book, or, you know, something that you're like, they really attend to the lore of Lord of the Rings. Like Elrohir and Elladan, how they're just like attached at the hip, and like his brother's like coming out and they're gonna have a little chat, you know, that sort of thing. So I don't know. I would say that you could get to max level quickly if you wanted to. People do, but I wouldn't want to be there without having gone through the rest of the journey. It would feel hollow. So yes, you can get to max level quickly, but I wouldn't recommend it, I guess is what I would say. So, yeah. More cake for all, says Epic Games. That's awesome. So like the other ones, I have finished the thing. So I go back to my quest giver and I hit finish now. And he gives me a couple tokens. So now we'll go into the second one. And he says, I'm especially worried about something Elrond said to us. You know, the company that departed Imladris on the 25th of December, as do I, you know, of this. Do you think it's possible that Bilbo set out from Imladris in pursuit of them? You may know more of their mission than I do, but I know enough to see the danger in it for our dear friend Bilbo. What madness, could have compelled him to follow them? We must find him before he does something even more foolish. So we are going to go in and talk to the scouts on the high moor and see if they've seen Bilbo going that way. So the scouts are not here at their camp, as you would expect. So we're thinking they must be scouting down the slope. So we're going to go track them down. So Doom says, more like Elder Scrolls Online, the story is a must. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So yeah, I would say come in and enjoy, you know, the story of things. And then if you get to max, you get to max. And if you don't, you don't. Like, I don't have any characters at 150. Oh, anyway, that's not true. I have one character at 150 right now. But there was a very specific reason I did that. Yeah. Like all the other characters, and I have, oh my gosh, I don't know, 40 characters across all the servers I play on, or have started. And yeah, max level is not something I worry about. Oh yeah, Doom says I was coming from WoW, and yeah, it's very endgame focused. Yeah, here it's not. Now, there are people who are, you know, max level, and so that's all they are really focused on. But I mean, one of the funny things, so SSG, Standing Stone Games, that's who creates Lotro. They are kind of a small team, but the cool thing about that is then sometimes you get like the executive producer who's the head of all this, who will go and speak on stream, like with Cordovan, who's the community manager, and Cordovan streams every Friday at noon here. So that's a great place to get like questions answered if you're curious about things. Anyway, so sometimes Severlin will come on and talk about, you know, various things. And one of the things he talks about is how they have such a varied player base that trying to make things that accommodate everybody is a little chaotic, because you have some people who are very interested in that kind of WoW-esque experience of, you know, what is the top tier armor and the best weapon and the best item that you can get in, you know, this particular slot on your character, and what kind of stats should you have, and, you know, like really getting into those nitty-gritty details of all of those things that you can do. But that's not like the majority of the player base. That's just a portion of it, right? You've got people like me who really enjoy the festivals and the more social aspects of things. For example, you can play music in the game, and there is a whole community in the game of people who just play music, and they have musical events, and you create alternate characters make alternate accounts, so that way you can create a band and you can play like these, you know, 4-piece musical things together, or you can play it together with friends. So like that's a whole section. There's also housing. You can buy like a regular house in the game, but then there's also premium housing, which costs Mithril coins or housing writs, which you can buy with in-game currency, but that you earn from doing deeds and stuff like that. But you can also purchase some of those Lotro points with real life money, and I end up doing that. I end up buying Lotro points, and then I spend it to buy like houses and things like that. And then I decorate my house, and so during the festival you could get housing things, or there's certain quests where you can get housing things, and you know, so like there's a whole other subgenre of that. And then there's also people like me who enjoy taking my time and all these like side quests that really fill out the story, and really completing every single deed that you can possibly do in the game. And so when they're making a new zone, for example, they don't make it just be like boom, 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 boom. They also have all these little side things going on with some of the characters that you get to know and all sorts of stuff like that. So it's, you know, it's a double-edged sword, because they have people who are so invested in the game and so loyal to the game because, you know, we have all these really cool things we can do. And at the same time, it's like, how do you create new content that provides something to everybody without it just being kind of lukewarm stuff to everybody? You know what I mean? So it's it's a really fascinating thing to watch sometimes. So anyway, so I would say don't worry about zooming. Come in, figure out, and the question you'll get, here's classic Lotro for you, and classic Lotro community. Somebody new will come in and they'll be like, hey, what class is most needed at endgame? And people will basically say, well, you know, pretty much all classes can be played at endgame, with, you know, and then they'll get into a whole debate about that. But they'll basically come back, you'll get a lot of play whatever you enjoy to play. Because that's kind of how Lotro is. Like, there's nothing that says you have to do one thing or another, and they're always like doing balancing of things. And so like my favorite that I play a lot is a hunter. Sorry, we're gonna have a conversation with this giant who's a friend of ours, and see if he knows where to find, if he's seen Bilbo. So we're gonna go looking for Bilbo with the giant. So Hunter is what I prefer to play. And Hunter is known for having a lot of DPS, a lot of damage per second. So very strong with like the attack side of the game. But they, other classes have had work, and they've done some tweaks against Hunters. And so Hunters actually are not, I'm not finding it as like I would normally come in here with my hunter, but I am finding that playing a minstrel, I'm more effective right now if I'm playing by myself. Playing in a group, I still play my hunter because there's enough of us doing DPS that we take stuff down pretty quickly, so that's nice. But when I'm playing by myself, I'm actually leaning towards this minstrel. And I'm not fully engaged with all the stuff I can do as a minstrel. I'm really just picking like, I don't know, what have I got down there? Like 5, 7, 8 skills. I'm just doing like 3 or 4 over and over again. So I'm not like, top tier gamer, boy kind of thing going on here. But I'm enjoying it, and that's the whole point. So yeah, so I would say even if you pick a class and you're loving it, and then something happens and it's like, wow, this isn't as easy to do anymore, or something's changed, whatever, it'll come back around. So I mean, the game is 17 years old, and there's no sign of stopping. Like, they've got another 15 years of content already that they want to do. So if they can keep it financially viable, they're gonna keep making content. So even if you are playing something and it like turns out to be kind of like rough for a little while, eventually it'll come back around. So you've got plenty of time to not worry about that. Let's see. Okay, so I know there's a lot of chat. I kind of rambled on there for a bit. So before says, I think if you like the writing in Lord of the Rings, you'll enjoy a lot of what LOTRA has to offer. Yeah, what I would say is that they definitely have made an effort to make the writing of the characters in LOTRO reflect what you would expect them to, how you would expect them to talk based on how they talk in Lord of the Rings in the books. So yeah. Steve before says, and there's so much more story than you need to get to max level that if you're not enjoying a storyline, you can just move on. Yes, the best meta in each slot. Whatever. Yeah, I don't really engage with that too much. Tony asks, is the economy healthy? I'm not sure what that means. Are you talking like the auction house? We'll come back to that in a second. So Doom says, yeah, so it's balanced, so there's no useless classes. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think that's what they try to do. Like, your hunter is often very high under DPS, but also has some crowd control options you can do. Minstrels are good with DPS, but they're also really good on the healing side, and then they've got like a middle blend that you can choose if you want. Hang on, I gotta tell this giant that yeah, you surrender. Good job. He surrenders. All right. Yeah, Folly of the Dragon. Welcome. Comments that it's about the story. I just wish they would hurry up and fix small menus when in 4K desktop or 4K game. Yeah, I know, right? You and actually Severalin, the producer, the executive producer of the game, he's also playing on a 4K monitor. So here's what I've watched. They've talked about. This isn't recently, but basically to change. So all of these like icons and images and like this little Hobbit present that I haven't opened yet today, that's an image. Like all of these little things, all these little buttons are all images. Like all of the stuff you see on the screen, basically they have to redo it. They can't just take it and be like, make bigger, fill in lines. I don't know. Like apparently it's a lot of work and they have to redo it. So, but it is something that they really want to do. So it's just a question of like being able to get engineers, I think, on the engineer team working on it. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah. So let's see. Lawshire says, the minstrel has become my go-to class of late. I'm main red line, but building a heal blue spec as well. Nice. What am I doing? I'm probably red, right? Am I red? Let's look at Gandalf. Tell me, Gandalf, what am I? Yeah, I'm in red line with this character. I don't know that I know how to play any other way of playing minstrel. Just terrible. Oh, I should make sure I'm actually like doing something with these things. Okay, I'm going to switch to that one. And those are all full. Okay, cool. Oh, sorry, we're supposed to look. We don't see anything glowing. So, oh, sorry, we're checking up to the north to see if they've seen Bilbo. So the scoop is we've been looking for Bilbo. I've kind of been yammering through this, but we came out of Rivendell and we kind of went like further into the Trollshaws and looked over there. We didn't find him over there. We looked, where were we? Down in Giant's Valley. He wasn't over there. So now we've kind of gone north into the Misty Mountains and we're going to see if he's up here. And Glowing's like, yeah, I was having a chat with him. And they're like, but now we're distracted by like a horde of creatures. So Yeah. So Doom says, I'm doomed. I play on a 4K ultra wide. Well, it just means that all the stuff is really little for you, I think. I'm so sorry. I wish I could fix it for you. So he's like, all right, will you stand with us? Apparently we've got something going on. So Gloin sees these three beasties and hang on, he kind of throws some shade here at some point. Let's take care of these here real quick. He says, 3 snow beasts? You were afraid of 3 snow beasts? All right, well, hang on a second. Oh, you can't see it that easily. So we've got a group coming from here, and a group coming from here, and a group coming from here. And he goes, oh. Cracks me up. I just love this area effects stuff that the minstrel has, like, for these missions. So good. So for those of you folks who are new to Lotro, what I'm doing is kind of like a little side story. It's like, imagine like you've got your Lord of the Rings books, and then you've got kind of like a, you know, a little story that showed up in some anthology or something. You know, so that's kind of what we're doing. So it takes place in the world, but Bilbo's gone. Bilbo is currently residing at Ladris, and he's kind of gone missing, and we're a little worried. Want to make sure he's not in any trouble. Didn't get himself in trouble. So okay, he's like, all right. So what were we talking about before we were interrupted by, well, a horde? He's like, oh yes, Bilbo. He's saying, we spoke this morning around 10 o'clock, and we spoke about this and that, and then he bid me farewell and left the camp. I thought at the time that he turned right and made his way back to Rivendell, but now I'm not certain of it. Are you sure none have seen him in the valley? Well, if he turned left instead, he would have climbed the slope, leaving Rivendell behind, and with that spirit of the storm loose and causing trouble, it could be that Mr. Baggins lost his way. I don't like this. If only I had noticed which way he turned when he left. It seemed like such an ordinary visit, I thought nothing of it. So, we know that Bilbo went north, and we are tracking him that way. Loshire says, me and a friend sometimes play on her Twitch channel together, so having me be able to do some healing is useful on Angmar. Yeah, I can understand that. I love running around with my hunter and Affadil before playing on Minstrel, because the hunter minstrel combo is actually really nice, because when we're doing stuff that is more, I was gonna say lightweight, that's not quite right, but you know, stuff where we can do stuff, we'll both run through in DPS basically, and you know, they're Affadil's going rah rah and, you know, screaming at everything and knocking everything down, and then if there's stuff left over, I'm like cleaning up with all my pew pew. Oh, I don't want to shoot at the tracks, I want to shoot at these guys. Sorry. So like that thing, I would be working on the warrior and cleaning that up. So that's a really nice pairing that we've got going on. When I'm riding alone, I still haven't quite figured out what I'm doing. And the only reason I realized how different the hunter was playing than I had realized was I'm playing by myself most of the time over on Mordor, and was like, wow, I'm having a really hard time doing things. And I thought, well, this is really strange. Maybe I've just forgotten how to play hunter for some reason or something, because we do so much group content. And I'd forgotten maybe how to play solo. And then I made like a mariner, and I found that like my mariner was just like cleaning up. I was like, what is going on? So yeah, I think hunter is just a little underpowered at the moment, but it'll come back around. I'm not too worried about that. Yeah, Loshire says, yep, she's a hunter and I'm a mini. I know, right? Let's see. So Folly of the Dragon says, it's not easy since it pulls from the system. The actual UI, like health bars and all that, can be resized, but the menu itself cannot. Same for the launcher. You have to switch to a different resolution to look bigger. So you're not doomed. Just don't ever go to the menu for settings. So in the next stream after me, so I stream Heart of a Hobbit here, and I do a lot of the kind of more social stuff and kind of like side quests and side stuff. But right after me is B4 with his stream Plugging Along. and he will talk about the plugins in the game, and he does some plugin development, and he's really good at talking a little bit more about some of the well, I mean, we don't know exactly like the engineering behind things, but as a software engineer, he has like theories. And so he's able to kind of like explain why something might be the way it is, just based on kind of like, speculation and stuff. So yeah, if you want to talk about techie stuff like the UI and the 4K and stuff like that, he definitely is able to know what you talk about. So Doom asks, are they focused on what happened in the books, or are they building new lore? And Folly of the Dragon replied that both, I would say. I remember in the early days the content was Tolkien approved. I believe his son still has some to approve, if I'm not mistaken. So they have, Standing Stone Games has license for very specific things. And I guess that's the way the Tolkien estate does it, or whoever owns that at any particular time. So they have license for the Lord of the Rings books, but not certain other things. Like they don't have the Silmarillion, I believe. And I don't think they have the appendices. So there's times when you will encounter, say, for example, Sauron when he was Anatar. But they don't name him Anatar in the game. They give him another name, but he's still like the giver of gifts. And he's still in that same role of teaching others how to forge rings and, all of that. So, but that works because in Tolkien's world, often characters had many different names depending on the situation. I mean, just take Gandalf or Aragorn, for example. They each have like at least 5 different names, it seems like. So, so that still fits within the lore. So yes, they're focusing on what happened in the books. Let me actually finish this guy. He's poor guy. He's just sitting there sputtering. For example, in the game, which we're not doing at the moment, but let me pop back here. So you have your quests. So I've been picking up quests and then completing these quests, right? When you start the game, you can end up doing like what's called a prologue. And the way they've set up the game is that you are a character. You're a hero in your own story. And in your story, you can begin in the prologue, but it's not required. It's optional, completely optional to follow the story through the prologue. But there's things in the prologue like, hey, welcome, and, here's these things that are happening around you and whatnot. Excuse me, I've got this weird wheeze. And then you begin with book 1. And you like go to Bree and you meet Aragorn and he asks you to take care of some stuff for him. And you meet Gandalf and Gandalf asks you to do some things for him. And all of the things that you're doing, and like further on, you like for example, after the Fellowship has come to to Imladris, and then they've left, and they're making their way, through various parts of like Region or whatnot. There's quests that they send you on where you're not like walking along next side to Frodo, but like you might be like, oh, they had a campfire here and it looks like they left in a hurry and there's still some burning embers or other evidence of them, and we know part of their mission because Elrond has kind of included us in some of that knowledge. And so we want to help like remove that evidence so that way servants of the enemy aren't able to come and be like, aha, they were here and let me see, this fire's still glowing. Oh my gosh, they're really close by. Get everybody over here. Let's find them, right? So you are participating in your own book, and they have, so it's called the Epic Storyline, the Epic Volumes. And so you have, for example, Epic Volume 1, and then you'll have like Book 1, Chapter 1, and then you'll have Book 1, Chapter 2. And that's how they take you through the storyline in Lotro is that you are the character in your own book. And these are the chapters, and the chapters are the quests that you are doing. And so you have objectives that you are doing. And as the game goes on and on and on, some of the stuff gets more and more dangerous. So it's a really cool way of taking you through. So a lot of times you'll be like, I don't know what I should do in the game. And people will say, well, follow the epic storyline, because that takes you through not just the story of, Lord of the Rings, because it really does. It runs parallel to the Lord of the Rings story. And it takes you not just through that story, but also takes you through the land. So you start off in Eriador and in Bree, and then you go to Weathertop, just like they did, and you're like, were they here? Are they coming? Like, I'm supposed to be meeting some people, all of that, and then you end up over going into Moria, and then you come out into Lothlorien, and then you find yourself in the Mirkwood. Like Southern Mirkwood is where you begin with, and you deal with Dol Guldur, and so you're working your way through a whole lot of key points and key places that exist in the books, and in the lore. So this is the full map as it exists at the moment. So Egg Arthur says that he believes they have access to the trilogy, and the appendices, and the Hobbit. Okay, because sometimes they will include some Hobbit related stuff. Like, for example, the Bilbo stuff that we're doing right now. Like, we know about Bilbo, we know his story, we know he's hanging out at Imladris after he has left the Shire. That's kind of where we are. And they do another really interesting way of telling the story here. When you are in Eriador, so let's say when you're in Bree, let's say specifically Breetown, like in Bree, when you're at the Prancing Pony, it's the time when Frodo and the other hobbits are passing through. They've just passed through, they're just coming, like it's right in that time frame. By the time you get to, let's say, we get to Weathertop, we're checking to see, and Gandalf has like just been there, and they've all just missed each other. By the time you get over into the Trollshaws, we were just doing some of that, where it was telling us about the story about how the riders, the Nine, were caught in the waters, and at the fort of Brunnen. So as we are moving through the land, we are also moving through time. And that's really fascinating. And I think that's a really cool way to tell the story. So as you find yourself in other parts, like by the time you get down to Rohan, you're doing the stuff that took place in Rohan during Lord of the Rings. So, you're going to Edoras, and they're evacuating the people, and you're going up to Dunharrow, and you're finding your way through the paths of the dead, and and that sort, all that kind of stuff, or not. Maybe you don't go through the paths of the dead. So as you work your way across the land, you are working your way through the time. So that's really cool. So we do get to meet Gollum and everything. Yes, Doom. You do get to encounter Gollum. You do spend some time seeing Gollum. And sometimes it's not easy to portray a piece of the story as your character. For example, the part where Frodo and Sam and Gollum are making their way through, what's that swamp called? That where there's all sorts of dead things. But you know what I'm talking about, right? Is it the Wastes? And there's definitely, it would be hard. Dead Marshes. Thank you, Lost Shire Hobbit. Yeah, through the Dead Marshes. And that would be really hard to do, having your character try to follow them through the Dead Marshes. I mean, they could have maybe come up with a way, but so the way they did it instead is sometimes you go into a play, like a session play, where you are seeing things through the eyes of one of those characters. You are taking part in a key piece of the story through the eyes of one of those characters. So that's one of the ways that you then interact with and see Gollum, because you are participating as Sam, as Sam and Frodo and Gollum are making their way through the dead marshes. Yeah, the water with dead bodies. It's so creepy. I think we do actually run through there as a character later on, though. Like I said, I've only gotten really into that part of the storyline once, maybe twice. So I haven't spent a lot of time out there. Right now, over on Treebeard, because we're in level 100 stuff, we're in Gondor. And so we're like meeting up with Aragorn constantly, or interacting or intersecting with him a lot. So, like, for example, we just did the taking of Peligir down here, so down in Lebanon. And so the city of Peligir, there's a whole lot of quests and stuff going on in here, but there's another way they get you into some of the story that doesn't then play out in the landscape is you go into like an instance or a dungeon or a big battle, as it might be called. And so you, oops, I didn't necessarily mean to close it. But anyway, so you you can partake in the retaking of Peligir, the city, from the forces of Sauron. And so you do that actually as a battle that you go into through, it's not through the instance finder, is it? Epic battle. It's an epic battle, sorry. So like there's a whole section of really significant things that happen through the books, and so those are called epic battles. And so like you start with in this case you might start with Helm's Dyke, so that's if you're doing that version, that area. Oh, sorry. And then you would go help defend the Deeping Wall. This is of course all Helm's Deep stuff. And then you go further into the Deeping Combe and help defend that. And then you end up in the Glittering Caves, you know, and running around with, not Gloin, Gimli, his son. So you're running around with Gimli and he's just like agog at all the Glittering Caves. But anyway, so you're helping defend the people who have retreated into there, so the non-combat folks that are there, you're helping defend them. And then at the end you go to the Hornburg and you're, you know, preventing the fall of Rohan by defending the Hornburg. So those are epic battles that you can go in and do, and you can do those over and over and over again, which is a lot of fun. And then once you get into further on, you can help retake Peligir from the Corsairs who are wasting it, who are sacking it. And then from there you go up and you defend Minas Tirith. And then you finish off with Hammer of the Underworld, which is holding the line, you know, as Grond is coming and defending the gate and all of that. Are they solo or group? It varies. I think all of these you can do solo, and then it varies between them. They're not all the same. So like Helm's Dyke, you'll notice that, maybe you can't see it on my screen, but in highlighted in yellow is 1, 2, 3 is grayed out, 6 is highlighted, 12 is grayed out. So Helm's Dyke, it would appear that you could do it as a solo or duo, or you could do it with up to 6 people. Now, let's say you had 4, you would just launch the 6 and do that. And then the epic battles have some other things like, for example, no matter what level you are, you're all munged to being level 100. And so the entire thing is level 100. But that kind of equalizes everybody's like health and stuff, but you still have all the skills that you have. So that's kind of an interesting conceit that they've done. So yeah, so Helm's Dyke is a 1 or a 6, 1, 2, 6. Deeping Wall is a 1 or 2 or 12, for example. The Lotra wiki is actually really good, and Before has posted a link there mentioning, yeah, where you can actually see the group sizes, as he's mentioned there. So yeah, so they all support solo duo, he says, and some support larger. Cool. So there you go. Yeah, Folly of the Dragon says you get to be a dwarf in the Mines of Moria, so that's really cool. Yeah, there's some session play where you go and you're being a dwarf and doing things in history. Like there's one where like the dwarves are basically showing the elves around and they're like we heard you've been digging really deep. You want to show us some of that? And they do. And they're like, whoa, this is not good. You know, run. There's some good stuff. Big Door says, pretty sure the end game is in the 4th age right now. And you start around the beginning of Lord of the Rings in 3rd age. Well, you're starting kind of beginning middle-ish, right? Middle-ish of 3rd age, because it's when Frodo and them are leaving the Shire. It's around that time. So, yeah. So Folly of the Dragon says, me and my wife are playing the story again, just keeping it super casual. Last time we played, they just did Rohan. Oh, they had just done Rohan. Yeah. So you've got more storyline that has come since then. Definitely. We do not fear what lies beneath. Can never dig too deep. Diggy diggy hole. Yes, the mines of Moria, the diggy diggy hole. So, yeah. So anyway, I love this game. I think it's really cool, and I love the way they've put it together. So what I'm doing right now today is not the epic storyline. I'm doing this kind of like little side story that they've created called the Further Adventures. And this one happens to be the Further Adventures of Bilbo Baggins. And in this case, yeah, we're trying to figure out, like, where is he? So we need to go and... What are we doing in this one? Oh, they're saying that the goblins must have taken him to their encampment here in the Misty Mountains. And so we're to go and see if we can get some information. So I'm just going to do a little gathering, because that's nice and easy to do as a minstrel. Alright, oh, maybe some of these guys too. Excellent. Alright, where's you all at? There you are. Oh, they stunned me. Dum dum dum. So okay, I'll stun them back. It works out. There we go. This is why, like, I'm just finding it so much easier to play this as a minstrel at the moment when I'm doing this by myself. I was doing this on my hunter, and it was taking me forever. So, sorry, I just want to grab my free gift of the day. But, all right, a lone goblin stands at the top. Hello, Sorog Crowseye. So you're remaining a woman hunter. I keep flipping back and forth between a hobbit hunter and a high elf hunter. Because I do love the high elves, because, for example, they get this cool dance. So this is what high elves can do for their dance number 3, and no other race has this. So I like that. Not the glowy hands. The glowy hands is a minstrel thing. But the dance is an elf, a high elf thing. Not even just elves, but high elves. So I love that. Doom says, I usually play warrior or mage. I know, right? It's like, there's so many options. So anyway, so I love that. Oh, are we going to kill you? No, we're not going to kill you. We're so nice. Thank you, stranger. Thank you. So he's going to give us some information. Let's see if I can jump up on here. Because I'll show you another cool thing. So another cool thing that high elves have is this really cool roll when they come off a jump. So watch this. It's a cool little tumble. Isn't that awesome? I love that. And the other thing, oh, I can't get on mount. The other thing is they kind of ride a little side saddle, and that is different from the rest of the races, and I really like that. So yeah, I like playing the high elf. It's fun. So, and yes, as Marfa Hellbane mentions, I like elf for the 5% bow damage. Pew, pew, pew. And that's the reason to go with elf instead of high elf or hobbit, although high elf might get it, but you get 5% extra damage with a bow as a class trait. Each class has like things they're better at. Like I think hobbits are better at stealth, and I don't know, high elves are better at just like looking long and tall. I can't remember what their deal is. Each one has something better. I remember the stout axe dwarves are really good with fire, I think it is. And so I had a rune keeper, as a stout axe, and I just stuck with the fire line because that's what they're good at. I don't know if that was like the right way to do it, but I don't know. I was having fun. Fire stuff's fun. Runes are just fun. Just like plop down a rune and it just goes wong, 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 and everything around it like gets hit. I love that. That's so cool. So, yeah. Let's see. Big Door says champion is an amazing class. That's the warrior class in Lotro. I tried playing a champion. My very first character was a dwarf champion because I wanted to be Gimli. And so I'm hiding from the goblins that are like between us and the gate we're trying to get to. We're trying to get to the gate over there. But first I got to find the key, which I know where it is because that goblin that we let go, he told me where it is. So this guy is going to go get their attention and take them on a merry little chase and get them out of the way. And then I will go over and find the key. Yes, B4 says minstrels or bestrels. Yeah, Doom, I know you say you're like a WoW player, and so you're calling it a warrior. Totally fine. There are a lot of WoW and ex-WoW players in Lotro. So if you're ever like, what is the equivalent to this thing that I have enjoyed playing in WoW for a class, for example, you know, what it would be an equivalent in Lotro, people definitely can help you out. And yeah, because like I said, there's a lot of people who've come over. All right, I've turned the key in the lock. We can go rescue Bilbo. He led them on a merry chase. All right. So this one is one of the more popular ones of this series because you don't have any combat. You just run in all of that. It's really quick and easy. And it got me some legendary item experience. All right, so these last 3 do involve some combat. So first we gotta wait for the 3 guys to come out. Or 2, I guess, in this door. And take them out. Okay, and then I gotta close this door real quick before anybody else comes out. Because we don't want to deal with that horde. Like, that's a few people. We don't want that. Alright, door number 2. We do not want what is behind door number 1. Alright, we should have... There they are. I'm like waiting because I know there's normally 3. All right, and close the door before the next ones come out. Go, 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 close the door. All right. We do not want behind what's behind door number 2. Let's make our way over to door number 3. Big Door says Runekeeper is the most like mage in their opinion. What about Lore Master? They do a lot with like magic-y type stuff, it seems like. Sorry, I'm not keeping up with the chat there for a minute. Okay, so now we got a big guy who's gonna come out. So let's see. So Doom is the mage called mage or sorcerer or what? Lotro. None of the above. Let's see. Yeah. Elbuko says Lore Master, Runekeeper, and Minstrel are the most magic-y classes. Big Door mentions that I love that stout axe dwarves allow you to be a female, but they look just like the guys. I know, it is kind of funny. It's hilarious and lore accurate. It's all of these things. So yeah, so Big Door thinks Runekeeper is the most like mage. Megan, yeah, Lore Master. See, I think Lore Master, yeah, is kind of like a mage, kind of a magic user. Big Door says Lore Master feels more druidy to me. So this is where it might be worth just kind of like getting in and playing around with stuff. One of the things I like about Lore Master is you can have pets. Although they just redid Lore Master, they reworked it and made some big changes. So people are still kind of settling into the new changes. So Lore Master, you used to be able to have pets on... So when you're creating a character, you can choose between doing stuff in the yellow line, the blue line, or the red line. And let me show you what that looks like real quick. So here you see I have blue, red, and yellow. And whatever you choose as you're getting, oh, hang on, there should be dudes coming. Whichever you choose, the skills that you can pull out of that to have available to you are cheaper in the line that you've chosen. And then, but you can still buy stuff out of the other line. It just costs like 2 points instead of 1 for each of those things. So that's where a lot of people are talking about running red or yellow or blue. That's what that's about. And red is generally your DPS. Blue is usually, I don't know, how would you call it? Utility? I don't know. Yellow is usually some sort of crowd control or other wacky hijinks. I think that's the best way to put it. So Lore Master just got reworked, and you used to be able to have pets in every line, whichever line you chose. But I believe in Red Line, which is your DPS line, you don't have any permanent pets anymore. You can like call a pet to you, but it's temporary. So it's all different. Oh, we have raiders. Hey, Zenny Cat. Sorry, I was off wandering on a little tangent there. Yes, Eliezer Wanderer says my lore master in red is OP. So I love all the pets, but I miss having pets in the DPS line. So let's see. Let's finish up on that. So before I was saying that minstrels feel more like sorcerers or scions than wizards in D&D terms. Very agile with what they have. And Big Door says wizards, while they exist in Lord of the Rings, they're not a class. Like you can't play a Gandalf, yeah. They're basically, yeah, so getting into the whole Maiar thing there. And so, yeah, you can't play a wizard in the game. So hey, Zennycat, I hope the streams are going well. It has been going well. Thank you. You tried a funny raid message. Well, did I get? I don't see a funny raid message. But I appreciate y'all being here. Let's see. Yeah, so Doom is going to try Brawler because you have a monk and WoW. Brawler is hilarious. I enjoy the Brawler because you're just like so punchy. You just like, and you get to throw things, which is hilarious. Yeah, I find Brawlers an interesting thing. I don't play them very often because what I've discovered in Lotro is that I enjoy being ranged in Lotro. I don't enjoy melee as much. Whereas in some other games, I do enjoy melee more and not ranged as much. So it's just, yeah, it varies. Zennycat, yes, says, yes, we tried. Well, now I want to know what your funny message was. Oh, you were being silly with the... yeah, if you use too many emotes, it'll squash that because it gets all wacky doodle. And yeah, because this is the official Lotro channel, there's you can't post links, and yeah, just trying to keep it tidy, all of that. So wow, yeah, so let's see. Alzir's the Wanderer has talked about minstrels, and hunters, and oops, I've lost track of Bilbo. Let me keep up with Bilbo. We're rescuing Bilbo. He was in the dungeons with the goblins had captured him, so we're rescuing him because he went wandering too far because he's a silly boy sometimes. Yeah, Big Door says, and I agree with this, my advice is try all the classes, levels, get up to level 20, do some deeds, get some Lotro points, and see which classes you like. I think that's actually pretty good advice because it gives you a taste. Like, I feel like a character really doesn't come into its own, it's a class, until you get into the 50s or 60s, maybe even 70s, because that's when you've got like all the things you can do and all the advanced versions of some of the things you can do. So it feels like, like I really enjoy playing a class once I get past like 40, 45, 50. But if I just wanted to have like a little taste of it and get an idea of what it might be looking like, getting up to level 20 or so, yeah, you've got a lot of those basic stuff and you can kind of get an idea of like, oh, okay, this is the kind of, game I'm going to be playing with this type of class. Got it. So I think that's pretty good advice there. So, Snuggle Bunnies thinks Mini has been great for range DPS and is very mobile. Yeah, that's the thing. B4 plays a minstrel, and I usually play a Redline Hunter, and I have often been a little jealous of his mobility. What I end up doing is I'm just like, I'm going to stay back and I'll just shoot things from here while you go over there and yell at them. Because with Redline, I've got that extra 10 meters. So that's kind of nice. So instead of being 30, it's 40 meters. So I can stand back a little bit. But yeah, again, I really am enjoying Hunter as kind of like, I'll be back here shooting at things while you go up there and do things. So playing it solo hasn't really been as fun for me lately, but it'll come back around. Yeah, Erebos Dark Guy says Brawler has also that ranged ability that tosses random dishware at your target, which is hilarious to me and my fiance. Exactly. Like, I am totally with you. Like, they'll throw a cup and then they throw like a chair and you're like, wait, what? Where are they getting? It's like, I think the idea is like they just grab the first thing they have and just throw it and just grab and throw it, and it's just fun to watch that. So, all right. So I am going to finish up this little mission here with Bilbo, and where he is a very clever hobbit. Yeah, it sounds like a bar fight. It is like a bar fight. I think that's the idea of, yeah. Before, one does not simply walk into Mordor without a chair to throw. I mean, obviously they have chairs in Mordor. They just pick it up and throw it, right? So anyway, so we're gonna finish up this. We've got some intrigue, but it won't take, too terribly long. And then I'm going to wrap up my stream. But right after me is B4, who has been commenting in the chat. So he will be doing his stream called Plugging Along, where he is talking about the Lotro plugins. Oh, there was a UI question, and I saw B4 got the thing out there. Thank you. Yes, I am using JRR Skins Collection, which gave me, you just follow the instructions that you find at the link that he gave. And once you've downloaded it, if you go about 2/3 of the way down the page under the UI settings tab, here under miscellaneous, it'll say current user skin. And by default, it will say none. But with the JRR Skins collection, you have this huge list of options. The one I'm currently using is the Delving Hills Wide #2, because I like the way that one looks. I also use Green Leaves a lot. Grey Wizard is interesting, but I don't use it. Spirit of Elfwood is another one that I've used a lot. And I was using the A. No. Yeah, I think I was using A. They redid it. Not too long ago, but they redid some of the A, B, and C stuff. So basically that collection came about because a while ago there were a lot of different UI skins that people were doing, and then they kind of weren't supporting them anymore. And so this person, somebody, took a whole bunch of these different skins and just like bundled them all together, which is a great idea. So then you can just like download the thing and you've got all of them. And then there's a consistency with the, like the programming. So if I flip from one to another, I don't have to worry about, is it going to resize this or is it going to do that? No, it just applies the skin in total to all my stuff, which is great. So, and I love it because it applies it to everything. So like if I go to like the auction house, it has like stuff that's also part of that skin. If I'm looking at just any screen at all, it has elements applied to it that are part of that skin. So I just think that's great. I know somebody earlier asked if there's a robust economy, and I think you might have been asking about the auction house. I would say that, so the auction house only works that you can only put something up for 48 hours. That's the longest you can have it up. And so people aren't necessarily putting things up as much as you might hope. Honestly, what I end up doing is if I'm looking for something very specific, I'll check the auction house for, like, if I'm looking for like craft stuff I want to craft. Like if I want to do stuff to work on like my crafting. So like my tailoring, maybe I need some light leathers or something. So I might go look for light hides on the auction house. But more often than not, I will like ask people in my kinship or that I know in that area for, you know, specific things, or put it in the trade channel. Like, you know, hey, I need a new drum for my level 57 minstrel. Can someone make me that? You know, that kind of thing. So that's where just putting it out into the right channel is often, because people will then go and custom make you stuff, which is really nice. And then you just kind of like negotiate how much they want you to pay for it, or if they want you to pay for it, or maybe you provide the materials and then they do it for you or whatever. People are pretty chill about that sort of thing. People are pretty nice about helping each other out. So, well, even, so I see Erebos got Darkbot is saying only plugin I have been using is the local time display one that gives me in-game local clock, so I can stop looking at my phone every 30 seconds. Oh, yay, I finished that. So let's get some crafting materials. Nice. Well, even if you're not like big into using a lot of plugins, Before still talks about Lotro stuff on his stream. So you are welcome to stick around and just talk Lotro. You don't have to talk plugins specifically. It is a Lotro channel. He is delving specifically into that, 'cause that's kind of like his wheelhouse. And like he just finished, he was working on Festival Buddy 2 during the festival. That was awesome. So I'm curious to see what'll be on there today, because I haven't actually asked him. So, but yes, I use a lot of plugins. So I'll be around. I can chat and stuff. So if anybody wants to know what plugins I use, I'm happy to tell you which ones are the favorites of mine. But I think, did we already do the, let's see, plugins? Yeah. So there's a list and a link to LotroInterface.com is a really great place to find Lotro plugins. And then there's another thing, the Lotro Compendium, right? Plugin Compendium, which can you can just pull up and it updates the ones you already have, or you can search there for ones that like are the most common, most popular, highest vetted ones, that kind of thing. But yeah, so all the ones that are listed there are ones that are used by those of us who stream. Some of them are used by almost all of us. Some people prefer different ones, like Kiki Inventory and Alt Inventory are both inventory management or searching things. Like I prefer Alt Inventory, but other people prefer Kiki. They're very similar. It's just I started with Alt Inventory, so Kiki seems a little weird because I'm just used to the other one. So yeah. So anyway, all right. If you have any last second questions, pop those into the chat. And if you did already, I'm sorry I missed it. Not scrolling well today. So anyway, I am here every Tuesday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll be doing festivals when festivals are happening, and we'll be doing other side quest stuff generally when it's not festival time. So come hang out. You know, we did not do today, and I know people are going to be shocked. We did not do any housing stuff today, and we didn't talk about food today, really, did we? So I know it's an unusual stream. We'll catch up on all those things next time, I'm sure. So I did pick up a bunch of housing stuff during the Farmers Fair for my houses over on Mordor. So if we don't get to that next week, we'll get to it sometime soon, because I've got a lot of decorating to do. So, oh no, Elzir the Wanderers. I can't find my house. I can't find housing items on Angmar for my big Lindleby house. So I am definitely hitting the festivals for that stuff for sure because they got a lot of good stuff. Well, maybe we'll take a look next week. Oh yeah, and the Boogan treasure event's coming up. So yeah, so there's a bunch of links there on things that are coming up here in the future. You can always just do a online browser search for Lotro schedule, and you can get the public event schedule, and that's always super handy. So, all right. Well, I will see you all next Tuesday. Stick around for B4 and his stream plugging along, and I will be sure to, and hopefully you will stay connected to my Hobbit side of my heart. So take care of each other out there, everybody. All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.